So let's do a bit of a scouting report for the England A players versus Portugal. It ended up 91-5 and it was definitely a trial game. A shame we didn't see the full Portugal team, which would have been a much better spectacle, but Portugal did get their try at the end. A really good try from their fly half, taking a high kick and running it in. But England just dominated them, so much more powerful. It was one way, but we did get to see a lot of players in an international setting, plus of course the training they'd have done. Borthwick set this up. Credit to him, it's a really useful thing to have, and he was there watching. So let's go through it on a 3-star rating for this trial. Who could force their way into the England squad for this Six Nations or the summer or coming up? So let's get into it. Let's start from the back with Josh Hodge, one of my favourite young players. He is smooth, he is silky, amazing footwork, amazing goal kicking, searing, effortless pace. He's amazing. He could absolutely go into the England team now, or you could give him another year to develop a bit more physically. I wouldn't mind either, but he's going to be an England international in the future, somewhere in the back three, if not full back, quick enough to play on the wing. He'll probably want to be a little more consistent with his offloading, which is something we've seen for Exeter. Because he creates so much, he has chances to offload more than others, but goodness me, at full tilt, he looks absolutely effortless. So 3 stars for Josh Hodge. Caden Murley got his hat-trick. I think it has to be 3 stars. He did what Caden Murley does. Quick, good footwork, great finishing, classic winger. If you want a classic winger, pick him. Borthwick could pick him tomorrow and it would be absolutely fine. The centre partnership with Max Ajomo and Oscar Beard worked really well. Not the biggest centre partnership. I gave Oscar Beard a 2. Really good footwork, good pace. He's always there in the right place, did nothing wrong. Not the biggest, but Slade exactly hasn't set the world alight, so he could have a chance for sure, but I think Will Joseph from Harlequins will have something to say about that as well. Max Ajomo I put down as a 3-star. His passing is simply beautiful, fizzing accuracy and distance, a much better passer than, of course, Lawrence or Tuolangi. So if you want a passer at 12, a youngster coming through, then he's probably your man. Good side step as well. He's chunky but not huge, so maybe if you put a big guy alongside him, it might work better. I don't know, but he did really well, although he'll be really disappointed. He dropped a try-pass cold that anyone should have caught, so that would have annoyed him. If he'd made that catch, you'd say it was a perfect game for him. The horse Will Muir had to go off a little early with injury, but very consistent, very strong. Maybe not ridiculous pace, but decent. Would do nothing wrong. You could slot him into England. I think he'd be absolutely fine. 2 stars for him. Charlie Atkinson missed a lot of kicks at goal to start with, which would have disappointed him. Looks very fast taking the ball to the line, creative, but I think he needs a bit more time. I don't think any of the 10s put the current 10s under pressure, so a 1 star for him. Harry Randall, if you want a 9 who does fast tempo attack, he's your man. Kicking length could be an issue. He's been passed up by many England coaches, but you could slot him in tomorrow and he'd do fine. If England want to get this fast new attack going, then he'd be absolutely fine. I don't think he's going to break through though, but the front row is quite hard to judge because England just dominated that scrum, especially in the first half. The backs of Blamire Hayes front row had the Portuguese on toast. They were just literally flying back like they were wearing slippers. So I can't really judge that because they need to go up against better opposition. But in other areas, I'm giving Finn Baxter a 2. Excellent all-round game. Good mobility, good hands, nice and safe in the carry. I think he could go in now into the international scene or give him another year or 2, but he will be there, I'm absolutely certain. When Marler calls it a day or it's called a day on Marler, him and Genge, I think, is probably the combo of the future. Jamie Blamire has been around England for a while now. He's very athletic, tall but still bulky. Great build, perfect build actually for a hooker. If his set piece is deemed good enough, then absolutely no reason why he couldn't be in the international squad as maybe the 3rd choice hooker. So good game for him, 2 stars. I gave Joe Hayes a 1 star just because I'm looking for something a bit special from tight head because we need something extra. He's not really overly quick, although quick-ish, but not very explosive for a youngster. Good scrummaging, but that being said, I think he could do equally as well as Dan Cole or Will Stewart. So even though it's a 1 star, no reason why he couldn't even start in the next game against Ireland. Then someone who really caught the eye, Big Risati Tuima. Big second row from Exeter, still young, he's going to get bigger, he's going to get stronger, and he stood out even now. Dummies, offloads, big line carries, busting over the gain line. He had it all. If you want this big French-style second row, he is your man. Probably the only guy like it in England. We don't get many of them. I'd love to have him in the squad as an option. A real slow ball threat as well. He is definitely one I would like to get in there, if not now, in the summer. Then Charlie Ewels, he served the purpose. He had a really good game, did nothing wrong, and that's what Charlie Ewels does. Calls the line out, good leader, does nothing wrong, in the right place. I don't think he's athletic enough to be a top level international, but goodness me, coaches will love him. You can see why. 2 stars for him. Then the star show, 6 and 7, as we thought really in the previews. Pearson and Pepper, 3 stars each. They could start for England tomorrow, right away at 6 and 7. They look like a class combo, fairly similar to each other in many ways, which is great because you have 2 of them. Pearson maybe a 6.5, I guess. Pepper more of an out-and-out 7 over the ball, but no, Pearson could play 7 as well, and they've got some height as well, so you could use them both in the line-out if you wanted to play a Tuima in the second row. So I absolutely love it. Absolutely no reason why they can't go in. I mean, we've got Roots and Underhill for England, who've been doing okay, but Pearson and Pepper, no reason why they couldn't do any better. Pearson got man of the match just absolutely everywhere, doing everything. Pepper with the same. Amazing trial for both of them. 3 stars. Get him straight in there. I mean, Pepper looks like a younger Tom Curry, although already massive as well. So physically ready. Get those guys in the squad, if not starting. Alfie Barbary needed a big game. Didn't quite go for him. He did hit the big lines. Carrying is his thing, and if it doesn't come off, then he probably doesn't have the other flanker work like a Ben Earl does. So if he carries and keeps hold of the ball, excellent. If he gets neutralised or dropped the ball, when he dropped the ball a few times in this game, not so good. So I don't think he'll have forced Borthwick's hand. He'll want some more eye-catching games, but I think he's the sort of player who could have an amazing game and then be a bit shut down the next game. So interesting for him, but he's got plenty of time on his side. Then the subs came on. Sam Riley had a really good game, very athletic at hooker, very skillful, a bit smaller than the other hookers, so he might be down the pecking order for that, but a real talent for sure. Tarek Haffer was the most naturally explosive of all the props. Again, maybe could do with a couple more years. Isefa Scott is huge as a tight head. Not massively dynamic at all, but because he's so huge and a good scrummager, I'm sure he'd do fine, and that kind of sums up England's tight head options. He'd be as good as any. Ben Bamba, not eye-catching like Tuima, but he's got all the tools, he's got the build, some good tie work in the maul, ripping the ball. He's a real grafter, maybe a couple more years for him. Greg Fizzaloo came on for Alfie Barbary and is noticeably quicker, but also a fair bit less bulky. I think a couple more years for him to fully judge him, but had a good game. Englefield came on at 9 for Randall, a product of the Irish system. Probably didn't go the way he'd liked. He got handed off for Portugal's wonder try, and the rhythm wasn't quite there, which might not be his fault, but didn't really catch the eye for him, so a 1 star there. Shilcott the same. His try was amazing, shrugged off kind of the whole Portuguese backline, but didn't have the best kicking game from the boot. In fact, Josh Hodge looked the best off the tee, so a fullback that can kick goals could be super useful for England. Hartley got plenty of game time, but didn't really have too many chances, so I think it's a 1 star even though he did nothing wrong, but as pure potential, 6'4", he's got all the tools, he'll have better games, more eye-catching games, and I do expect him to be in the squad in a year or 2. So please put your 3-star ratings down below on these performances from England A. Who should be in the squad right now? Who to watch out for in the future? I'd love to know your thoughts as always, and I'll catch you next time.